Please don't get out of line and get reckless. Please don't go try to reach for my necklace. Now some niggas I needed a napkin. I see some things I was
All right, it is your boy KB, the boss from shifter@magazine.com, and I'm here with British born, Toronto based DJ and producer. She's also the founder of AGS, her own brand, or Alien Gang Shit. Over the past few years, she's worked with some of Toronto's growing crop of up and coming artists, including more recently Nadia, Stone, and Swagger Right, who we also interviewed recently. And today she released her new single, Life, featuring Lil Berete, who we also had a chance to interview recently. And so I'm glad to welcome the beautiful and the talented Unimerce.
Ooh, thank you. What a beautiful introduction. Thank you, KB.
No problem, no problem. So you were mentioning before that you are you're in the UK.
I am currently.
How are things over there? Like, is it, I assume it's always damp, like over there.
It is. Actually, it's raining today as well. So it's funny you say that. But I love the rain. So, I'm perfect here. That's my favorite weather.
You love the rain.
I do. There's something about it. The energy of the rain. It's just so nice. It's so cleansing.
Interesting. So what brought you, I'm always interested to know, like, what brought you to Toronto in the first place?
Yeah, I was living in New York just before I moved to Toronto. I lived there for like 3 years. And then from there, there was, I got invited to go work over there for a show. And when I came over, I just like fell in love with the place. So I ended up staying there and getting, my work visa. And that's how I ended up there. Okay. Feel like life is just one big journey, so wherever you find yourself ending up in the moment.
Yeah. Now Canada and UK, obviously we have some similar, like, I guess, culture, both kind of Commonwealth. Was there anything when you first went over to Toronto, is there anything you kind of were like, what the hell is this? Like, any kind of culture shock at all? Like, anything you didn't kind of understand about us Canadians?
I guess like the hockey side of things, because hockey is so big over there, but football is so big over here, or soccer as you guys call it. So each to their own. Everyone has something different, but I was definitely not used to the snow for sure. I was not used to the snow when I first came over, so it makes sense why they play hockey. But yeah, that was something we don't really do over here.
Yeah. Is there anything you've kind of like grown to love about Canada or Toronto specifically?
I love the accent. I definitely have grown to love the accent.
We don't have an accent.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, yeah, whenever my family in the UK, like they call, they say I have an accent. I'm like, I don't have an accent.
Yeah.
You guys
well,
do.
If something is different to your accent, I would definitely class it as an accent, right? I don't think I have an accent when I'm here.
Okay, yeah, true. Yeah. So as I said in the intro, you've worked with Nadia, Stone, Swagger Right, obviously Lil Berete recently. Like, how do you choose like the artists that you collaborate with? Because I'm sure you don't just collaborate with anybody. So like, what goes into your thought when it comes to like who you work with?
Yeah, I find it's just, whoever like I cross on my path. I've met like each of the artists that I've worked with out in public first. But Lil Berete, actually, my boy Ethan, who works for me at my studio, he brought Lil Berete in to work with us. And we just kind of crossed paths that way. But yeah, it's just through like a moment, or through a moment, like meeting somebody out in person and being like, oh, they've got that vibe, that energy. And I always like seem to work with people who have really, really good energy once they're in the studio. And that's super important, right? When you're creating any kind of art, got to have good energy and good vibes to go into it. So, instinct. Intuition.
You produced Murda with featuring 2K Baby.
I did. Yeah.
So how is that? Because I listened to that beat. I'm like, I can't believe that beat came out of you. Like, that beat is such a hard beat. Like, how did you, like, I guess what mind state were you in? Like, how did you come up with that beat?
Yeah, like my production style, I just really love heavy, like hitting 808s. Like, even if I'm making R&B, like I seem to always put those heavy like 808s in. I love it when you can like feel that through the speakers. And like, I feel like the beat is the energy of a song. Like certain things resonate at a certain frequency, right? So I feel like the frequencies that like the beat brings, it can bring you into like a happy mood or like a sad mood or like an aggressive mood, you know what I mean? And I think that day I was just feeling very like melodic and like you know. And I made that beat actually with my two boys, Ethan and Scheme. They work at my studio as well, so you know, always like collaborating, always like joining energies with different people, and I find you just get the best music then, right?
And overall, like, what's your, like, when you're making a beat, like, do you have kind of like a similar creative process every time? And like, what is that process like when you're creating?
Yeah, so I definitely always start with the melody. People, you know, different producers like start with different things. Some start with like a drum pattern or whatever, but I always do start with, you know, a melody whether, you know, it comes with something simple. And then I lay my drum pattern. In FL, there's like a way of like just laying your pattern first so you can hear like how the whole chorus would sound together. So I kind of like create the chorus first, how it would like sound when all the instruments are all together hitting the hardest, and then I will arrange the beat. So I'll strip it all the way down and just arrange it from that way. So I definitely always start with the melody, then I add the drums, and then it comes to the creative process then when you are recording somebody. And once you've recorded somebody and you have like their vocals and stuff, then you can fuck with the beat and like put that around their voice as well, like add the certain like little chops in just before the drop and stuff like that. So I always have the same kind of flow.
Nice. That sounds
I got
good.
really good at it fast now.
Now with the new single Life dropped today, when you made that, like, first of all, congratulations on the single.
Thank you.
When you made it, like, did you kind of make it with Berete in mind, or you just kind of like, you made it and then we're like, oh man, I need to get him on this beat?
Yeah, so I definitely made it with Berete in mind. He was coming in the studio the next day, and so normally if I know somebody is coming in for a session, I'll make beats particularly for them in my own style of how I, you know, how I feel their voice would like sit on it. And so when I heard like the haunting melody of Life, I was like, okay, we just got to add. Berete's drums are always kind of the same. He loves like really fast 160 BPM beats, and so like the hard 808s, the really fast hi-hats, and just so I did have him in mind. And you know, when he came in, it was one of the very first beats that we played, and he just jumped on it.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, I think just looking at the two songs you guys made together, I'm like, you guys definitely need to be doing a lot more together.
Yeah, we have a lot in the vault. I'm like really excited to you know, bring some of those out. I even have one with him and Nadia that sounds super dope. So that will, you know, that will be out soon.
Nice. And how did that relationship start? Like you and Nadia, because that was your previous releases with Nadia. Like, how did that kind of relationship come together?
Actually, we met. Me and Nadia have kind of known each other just off Instagram and like around the city. The city's small, right? And I feel like the music culture is small there. For how big like Canada is or whatever, I feel like the industry is like tight knit, and like, you know, you see somebody online and you just see them around and in the same parties and stuff. And so we kind of knew each other like that. But then she came to do an OD party, which is OD from Toronto. They're like a resale brand. And so she came to do the party, and I was DJing that party. And then I had everybody come to the studio afterwards, and like she came with Swagger and Roy, and we had them like down in the studio. And then from there we were just vibing, and me and Nadia like got to know each other there. And the funniest thing was, she was meant to record right before Swagger that night. So I played her a bunch of beats. She was, you know, writing, because she likes to write. So she was writing there at the studio. And then Swagger and Roy came in, and like a bunch of other people, and everybody started smoking, and she doesn't smoke. So she couldn't like then record. She just got high off like all the fumes. And she was like, no, my voice is like, no, I've got to go. I'm like going to come back. And I was like, yeah, definitely, like, go do your thing. Everybody's a different creative, you know, how they create. And so then she came back literally like, I think like 3 days later with like a whole song written, and it was What You Saying actually. So, you know, it all came in very perfectly.
Now, something else, like, I mean, obviously you're in the UK. I always think to myself, there needs to be a lot more like Canada, UK collaborations. Like, I feel like there's not enough. Like the other day I was on Twitter. It's like, we need a Cardinal, like Skepta, like we need the, like Stormzy, like we need these kinds of like
We definitely do.
Is that something that you, as someone who's from the UK, like, is that something that's kind of on your radar, like, you know, kind of
That is
initiating?
something, yes, that is something that I'm even doing right now as we speak. So definitely, you know, I love the two places so much. I am originally from England. That is my roots. And like I love Toronto. I've lived there for like 6 years, and I feel like the culture musically is very similar to the UK, as in they have their own style that's like known for there, you know. And so I think it just goes really well together. I want to definitely see more of these collabs from other people as well. You know, there's definitely been some amazing collabs from there already too. So it's dope.
So for you as a producer, like what would be some of those like dream, like Toronto, UK collabs that you would love to personally, you don't have to, you have to let anything out of the bag what you're currently working on, but you know, if you can ideally, like in an ideal world, kind of put those collabs together, like who would you love to see kind of on a track
Yeah,
together?
I would love to see I'd love to see Central C on a track with somebody from Toronto.
Okay.
He would actually sound super dope with Berete. I feel like it's just like the different tones in their voices.
Yeah.
I would definitely love to work with Skepta. Skepta's like one of my ultimate like favorites, so I would love to see him on a track with somebody. But yeah, I think that would be cool.
Okay. When it comes to say producers, you know, female producers in Canada, like doing hip hop, there's not a lot. Like, you know, there's, you know, like even just talking, I was having a conversation yesterday with somebody, and they're saying that it was kind of like you, Wonder Girl, Eva Shaw, are kind of like the ladies who are doing it. Do you feel like hip hop is becoming more open to female producers, or you feel like there's kind of like a lot of more progress to be made?
You know, I don't I've never looked at it like that, as if like, oh, is it more open to that or whatever. I just don't feel like there's enough females like doing it in respects, because you know, I have looked, there is like a few people, but I think there's just not enough people doing it. And maybe because they're like scared of like the whole learning the program and stuff, because it does take a long time to like be able to learn your craft in that way, but everything does, you know. And it shouldn't be like scary or off-putting, because you can get there in the end. So I don't know, I've never really looked at it as if like, oh, you know, if anybody's open to it, because I've always just did what I want to do and like don't look at it, like any of the negatives of things, so just always went forward. But yeah, I feel like there should be more females doing it for sure, you know.
And what advice, because we have you know, so among our readers, we have like, you know, young women who are kind of trying to get into the industry. Like what industry advice would you have for just young women in general trying to like get into music, entertainment, whatnot?
Yeah, well, you know what, I feel like just like stay focused and stay in your lane, and don't listen to any negativity or even take part in any of the, you know, the negativity, because as long as you're just looking forward and staying focused and being really like on the ball with your craft, a lot of practice, you know, nothing comes easy. And so it does take a lot of like hours to put into your work, but just like anything does if you want to be a master at it. And so, yeah, I would just say stay focused and stay above everything. Stay one step ahead. You know, you have to be.
Cool. And this last question, you know, 5 years from now, where is Unimerce for 5 years from now? Where do you hope to be? What do you hope to accomplish?
I feel like I would have taken over the whole planet by then. You know, I just really want to keep going with my music, and hopefully you know, won a few awards by then, a few plaques going on my wall. That's kind of like one of my biggest dreams, is to just like have my studio with all these plaques on there. And yeah, taking over the whole planet.
Okay.
And taking everybody with me, you know, like the artists that I work with, and everybody that like, you know, puts the effort into their craft as well, and we cross paths, you know. Hope the same for that too. So
definitely. Now, before we go, we like to kind of play a game with our guests. So I want to show you a picture of an artist, and just kind of the, you know, word association. First word that comes to mind when you see this artist.
Okay.
All right.
Oh shit.
All right. First word that comes to mind.
Legends.
There we go.
Big legend. Beautiful and talented.
All right.
Ooh, crazy freestyler. Like having Swagger in the studio was like insane. He just like spills it all out and he just can't stop, you know. He's really, really sick. So
Okay,
talented.
so he doesn't write.
No, he just on the spot,
That's
like
crazy.
freestyle and everything. He's insane. He should post more of those videos because before I knew Swag, I didn't know that about him, right? Because I've not seen him post anything like that or whatever. But like when he came over, yeah, insane. Everybody was like, what the fuck?
That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
and
Superstar.
definitely.
Yes.
And last but not least.
Aww. What do I want to say about myself?
You can boast. You can flex a little bit, you know.
Alien gang shit. You know what it is. Motherfucking alien right there.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, for your time.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the success, and we'll definitely be looking out for whatever you drop in the future.
Yes.
So for people, I mean, I'm sure everyone knows who you are, but for those who don't know you, where can they find you on social media?
Yes, you can find me at Unimerce, at Unimerce _ on Instagram, and most of my socials are the same like that. So you can find me exactly like that. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you guys having me.
No problem. Once again, this is the beautiful, the talented DJ/producer, Unimerce. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.